Ananka wakes up in the Halsey tent with amnesia. They resolve to employ her as a lab assistant.
Here's my question. They know nothing about her.
Send her to work.
He's like, hey, would you like to work in my laboratory? It's like that's his pickup line. Science guy pickup line.
Cinematic fantastic.
Klaatu, Barada, Nikto.
I'll show you who I am and what I am.
Bitten by a werewolf and lives, becomes a werewolf himself.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hello and welcome to the Cinematic Fantastic Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Weatherford.
And your other host, William Weatherford.
Get ready for opinions, dad jokes,
and bad jokes
as we watch and review sci-fi and fantasy films from the classics of yesteryear to the new favorites of today. Hello, and thank you for joining us for episode 46 of Cinematic Fantastic. Tonight we are talking about a film, if you could even call it a film. I'll have to see what William thinks about it. But first, I have two quotes from a very wise man. You ready?
What's the first one?
Find a lizard on the grave. 'Tain't no charm your life would save. And the other quote is that the devil's on the loose and he's dancing with a mummy. We're talking about The Mummy's Curse tonight, 1944 film movie. It exists. That's as good as I can tell. It has a little bit in common with Son of Kong. Can you think of what that might be, other than it's a sequel?
It gave me a lot of The Lost World feelings.
Okay, I'm glad you think of the bayous of Massachusetts. I'm glad you think of the bayous of Massachusetts as The Lost World. I came from a state with lots of swamps in it.
No wonders of Wisconsin, West Virginia.
No.
It's only notable for the Mothman, but that's it.
Actually, you're more right than you know. I did look up some information about this. If you remember in the last movie, The Mummy's Ghost, Karis the Mummy and his Amina, who is changing into Ananka, go figure, they're going into the quicksand of the swamp in Massachusetts. And I went, there's no swamps in Massachusetts. And then there's swamps in this that are a lot more like Louisiana. And they use Louisiana phraseology that is very confusing. And I'm not the only one who's confused. I think people who have been movie critics and reviewers of this movie have mentioned that they were confused about the whole bayou swamp thing. I looked up, are there any swamps in Massachusetts? And there is one. It's called Hockomock Swamp.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is related to something that I had been looking into, a lot of weirdness and called high strangeness, which is something called the Bridgewater Triangle. The Bridgewater Triangle is over in the Massachusetts, West Virginia area. And in the Bridgewater Triangle is Point Pleasant, which is where the Mothman flap or occurrences happened in the 60s. But
this is obviously not a cryptozoology podcast. No. Let's get into the movie.
No, it's not. But I will. But at least
I will. I'm the one doing the plot this time.
Oh, okay. Can you? And so what I was saying is that the whole thing about swamps being in Massachusetts is not that bad. It's not that far off. But what's weird is they use words like bayou. And they have a Cajun guy.
Not
doesn't make any sense.
It. Anyway, let's begin.
Let's begin, yes.
Okay, so we begin the movie in Tante Bertha's Cafe Inn. It seems we are in the middle of the swamps of Louisiana for no particular reason.
But they never say it's Louisiana, but they give you lots of clues where you're thinking it is Louisiana. Like there's Cajun Joe, and they also mention Bayou, and there's people from lots of different, nationalities that you would find.
We begin the movie with a song that has a lot of French roots, I guess, because she says "chérie" a lot. So I was like, maybe it's the French word for Louisiana.
Yeah, that's also a Louisiana clue, and
That's
Again,
also a
we're
little
not-
bit of polka
yeah.
feel as well. Although I don't know if the Polish people.
Oh yeah.
Also were in Louisiana. Were they?
I will tell you this. There's a lot of it's the whole thing with the accordion and that kind of that oompa kind of feel. That happened a lot with immigrants who came from Poland to Mexico, which is why a lot of the polka sound you see in Mexico. I'm not sure how much of it kind of entered into Louisiana, but
Well, I mean, there was a Louisiana Purchase.
yes, of course. But what I'm trying to say is, a lot of that. There's a
Which I assume was purchased from the Mexican people.
from the French. It was King Louis, which is why we go Louisiana. It was the King Louis.
So that the French, yes.
Yeah. I'm not super familiar with like Louisiana music except for maybe what's called Zydeco. And Zydeco, I'll have to let you hear some of it later, but it's kind of a Cajun. It's Cajun music, and it has a lot of French in it. But hey, you caught me unawares. I'm not, I don't know the roots of any of that stuff. Again, I was only there till I was like 9 or 10.
Sponsored by Zydeco.
No, Zydeco sounds like a like Costco or something like that. But it's a musical type. But
Yep.
I don't.
It's the best competitor to Best Buy.
Okay,
Not
well,
competitor to Best
let's talk about something real
Cajun
quick.
Joe, a man with no wife,
Yeah,
no money, and no hair.
played by Kurt Katch, who's Polish, actually.
Huh.
Yeah.
Funny.
One thing I would like to mention is that you're probably going to see as we go through these other seasons going forward, is a lot of times they would take these. People wanted to get their song kind of put into a movie, whether it was science fiction, horror, comedy, whatever, or even musicals. You'd expect it, but even in comedies, they'd like put a couple songs in just for I don't know why.
They did that with Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman.
That's true.
Earlier in our season.
That's what I was thinking about. I was like, oh boy, it's another. This hey you song is just another Farola, and I can just be like, skip it.
Yeah, just like a wasn't it like a jump rope?
What do you mean?
The jump rope's called skip it.
Skip it. Yeah, skip it.
That you
yeah,
tie it to your foot.
Your ankle, and you would basically destroy your ankle. There's video of like Gen Zers attempting.
I feel like it would
stuff
offset
that we
your
did when we
natural
were young.
balance, like how they say putting a backpack to one side isn't it good for your back.
No, it's not actually. But I've done it before, and it's not good. Nope,
Yeah.
not good at all.
I feel like you might eventually turn out with like one really big foot, and the other foot is smaller than the other foot.
Or you'd be leaning. It's more of you like leaning.
Just leaning constantly.
So we're
Company
in Tante.
manager
Okay.
is outside addressing a crowd of people who will not work at digging out and draining the swamp. I think it's a Southern Engineering Company that is like the government.
Yes.
The government mandated.
His name's Pat Walsh. Is the name of the guy who runs it.
Yeah,
Pat
Cajun Joe
Walsh.
wants to take a chance at working out for them, but everyone's like, "Oh, there's a mummy," and the crowd outside is also like, "There's a mummy. We will not work. We fear the mummy."
Yeah.
Is out there. But they're like,
Sometime
that was 35 years ago.
Sometime when the moon is full and it's very high, the mummy he dance. He's out there with his princess, and it's like, okay, thanks. I hate to say this, they bring out the whole trope of somebody a black guy who's afraid of ghosts. It's just like, are we really gonna do that again? But yeah, we're gonna see that some more, but at
Everyone
least,
is afraid of ghosts in this case.
yeah, or a lot of them, and then some
Yeah,
are
Pat
like,
Walsh is like, the government said we have to work on this. Go work on it.
I'm tired of your superstition. Right, exactly.
Yeah, this dude is complete realism.
But then somebody comes
Two
up
somebodies.
Two somebodies, yes.
From the Scripps Museum, which the Scripps Museum was the museum we saw in the last movie, where
that's where
Princess Ananka was kept.
Right. Well, before she disapparated.
And that's what they're here for. Dr. James Halsey and Dr. Ilzor Zandab. I
have something to say about that name. The next
I had
time
to go through my notes, and because I thought his name was Zahim, and I was incorrect.
That would make more sense. This name sounds like it's one of the, like when you're starting to play Dungeons and Dragons and you go, what name should I pick for my character? I don't know. I'm not really good at naming. And you go to like, fantasy fantasy name generator and you hit submit and it goes Ilzor Zandab. Oh, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It sounds like a Star Wars character too.
Or a certain dragon that will engulf the city with flame.
Right. Godzilla.
Trogdor
Zandab. Yeah.
Trogdor Zandab.
Every time they name this guy's name, Ilzor Zandab, I'm like,
yeah, keep in mind, I haven't seen any of the strange bad, whatever it's called. Strong Bads, did it actually have a name?
Yeah, there was it was Strong Bad, there was Strong Bad, Strong Sad.
Yeah, I haven't seen Homestar Runner, or the special things with, Strong Bad in it, or anything.
Yeah, Trogdor
just so you guys
was
know.
just a side
I will
character.
in the future.
Yes, I'm going to expose you and your siblings to that if it kills me one of these days.
Yeah. So they're looking for Karis and Ananka to escape from the museum, and Pat Walsh is like, pshaw, mummies don't exist. No can do.
They escaped from the museum, got dunked in quicksand, and supposedly they think they're down here.
Yeah, they want to go searching for them in the dirt, and he's like, no can do. What mummies? This would be intrusive.
But his daughter kind of not
Betty,
his daughter.
is it?
Kay. No, that's the name of the actress. No, it is. I think it is Betty Walsh. I think, but it's played by Kay Harding.
Yeah, she's like the receptionist.
That's not the daughter. It's actually his niece, because he said, "Hey, you shouldn't talk to your boss. That I know thanks for sticking up for us, but you shouldn't talk to your boss like that. He could get you fired."
Yeah, she was sticking up because they were like, "We'll be completely out of your way." All three of them, and then he's like, "Oh, no, not really." And then he walks out, and
won't even get started. He says, "We won't even get started until you're pretty much done with your swamp clearing." And he's like,
"Yeah,
you're still gonna get in my way. I don't buy it." He's grumpy. But
yeah,
go ahead.
I don't buy you. I'm just gonna keep making that stupid.
Why are we in Louisiana?
Bad jokes and dad jokes and bad jokes.
Dad jokes and bad jokes. That's what we're famous for, I guess.
That's what we're famous for.
Infamous, yeah. We're low-key famous.
But he leaves, and then they're like, yo, Betty, you could get fired, but good job sticking out. And then he immediately... I want to say that there's fear for a dangerous mummy. The workers are not working. Quelling their fears might actually be a great thing for you. So might as well get the mummy out of there ASAP before it does any harm. Or confirm there is none, maybe? I think that's the strategy. And
but again, do you remember the last movie where you said that no one had to be convinced of the mummy's situation because it was in Mapleton, and they were like, but some of the characters in this, they were like, well, about 25, 30 years ago, back in the 70s, there was a mummy situation or whatever. And he's like, oh, the boss is like, I don't believe any of that. No, you're right. He should have taken it seriously. But that's the thing with a lot of these movies.
At least confirm that there is no mummy on the grounds. That will quell their fears, and then you will get work so much
done
faster. Now that the workers are free to work.
It's the Amity Jaws situation. Because, again, we'll watch this movie, you and I, one of these days. But on the island of Amity, there's the mayor. And he's like, we're going to have the best 4th of July summer ever. And there starts being these attacks by a great white shark. But of course, instead of just quelling people's fears and like proving there isn't one out there, he's just like, oh, stop talking about it. And, keep your voice down. And
it's better to get rid of any risk at all.
Yeah, but shutting down the beaches for even a day, he's like, we're going to lose the town. And
yeah, I know it could be lucrative to prove that there isn't a mummy, time lucrative, but I think it would be worth it because it means the workers would just stream right in, going like, okay, we can work here now.
Yeah. But honestly, he's not a superstitious man. He's kind of like, he's all business, and people get killed. That's what happens.
But yeah, guy walks in. He says a workman has been killed in the swamps.
Antoine. Is his name, yeah.
They go find a clean 2-foot deep hole near the scene of the crime, apparently in the shape of a large man. In other words, the combination of 3 circles and 2 rectangles. I didn't
looks
see
like
a man
person's
in there.
body. I kind of did.
I didn't at all. I didn't.
Well, after they pointed it out to me, I saw it. Here's the thing. When I first saw this movie, I was like, oh, the mummy killed him. But wait a minute, the mummy always kills with his choking hands, with the mummy's hands, so to speak. And this was done with a knife stab. And we find out who actually did it. It wasn't the mummy.
Next scene, as is predictable by the fact that Ilhor Zandab is wearing a turban as he meets with Rahim, a new disciple of Arkham. It is revealed.
RoccoW. Sorry,
RoccoW. That's one that I didn't replace. I just called everyone Zahim and Rahim. Look, I'm sorry.
Their names rhyme for no reason. It's okay.
I was typing fairly quickly, so
yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm sorry. No offense.
So one of the workers actually works for Ilzor Zandab, and Ilzor Zandab is the new Yusuf Bey, Mehmet Bey, Andoheb guy.
They have Karis in a coffin in another temple ruin.
It's a monastery. It's an old monastery.
A monastery, to be specific.
But did you notice that they use the same front of the steps and everything as the Temple of Arkham in all the other movies?
I swear it was at least a different angle.
Yeah, and there was more plants, I think, put in the scene, but it's still the green hell stairs again. They must just. I wonder if those green hell stairs are still there.
I thought it was another
to this day.
set from Green Hell.
No, it's the same one.
For those who don't know, they reused the set from another movie, Green Hell, which was in the jungle.
Yeah, and has those steps. That's the one Andoheb walked up. That's the one they keep using in the stock footage. Oh boy, stock footage. Now go ahead.
Yeah. Zandab then initiates RoccoW by reusing the second movie's revision of the first flashback scene with him doing the monologue.
And Tom Tyler. You see Tom Tyler again.
Yeah, which in other words, for those who don't know, there was the first movie that had their flashback scene. The second movie decided to reuse that, but adding new elements to it, and then
they put Tom Tyler instead of Karloff as Imhotep,
and added extra scenes of his infidelity with the Tana leaves, which I'll sum up.
And they had Boris Karloff when they're wrapping his face, and then they filmed that again with wrapping Tom Tyler's face.
Yeah, the only difference is that Zandab is doing the monologue over it, which is like basically the exact same monologue for the second movie.
It feels like at least 15 minutes. I know it's not 15. I know it's not 15 minutes, but feels like it. And you're looking at your watch, going, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah.
Save money.
Yeah, basically, Karis loved Ananka so much that he attempted to steal Tana leaves, from the I guess place where they have them.
Isis or Cyrus.
There's like the statue over it that like has like the wave the thing.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is exactly. It's like a
scepter of some sort.
Of some sort. Yeah. They punished him by burying him alive and making him immortal, so that he would never truly die, I guess.
Yeah, they buried him with the Tana
They buried him
leaves
in. They killed all of the people who did it, so there were no witnesses. Apparently, then they also moved him out of of that place in the desert and moved him to the entrance of the Temple of Ananka.
It still makes no sense. Even when we did the review of some of these other earlier Mummy movies, it still made no sense.
Why did they move him? I don't know.
Yeah, go figure.
Why not just bury him Or why not just leave him alone or bury him
Because
somewhere
you
else?
killed everybody who knew. So what did you do with the people who moved him? Did you kill them too?
Basics is that the priests all exist to fix him being alive, I guess, by reuniting him with Ananka, which all being done, all they need to do is get him out of the country. Is where we're at the story. It's like they've already reunited. They Godzilla'd into the water at the last.
They want to
movie.
get Ananka and Karis together and take
they
both
got
of them
together.
back home.
And now they need to go back home so that his spirit can finally rest.
Well, they don't have Ananka yet. They've got Karis. They need Ananka. They have to have the pair to go back. Yeah. Go figure.
Yeah. But they did achieve that, basically. They are in the same location. Unfortunate for the people there at the monastery, someone already maintains the monastery and stumbles upon them, but is swiftly taken care of by Karis.
Yeah, this I would say that they put this guy's name in the credits, but he's in there just as long as Tom Tyler is, and Tom Tyler was a...
He's like, hey, what are you doing here? And it's like, what are you doing here? I maintain this temple.
I'm the self-proclaimed caretaker of this monastery. So you're just like, I wasn't doing anything. I was retired, so I thought I would take care of this monastery.
Yeah, but Karis takes care of him so they can get back to business. Ananka rises from the dirt's next scene. Masterfully acted.
This is a great scene. The makeup is great in this. At least until it starts crumbling off.
Yeah, she does like this very unique, like unnatural twisting and jerkings and stuff.
And the sun. There's something about the sun.
Twisting the back and the limbs in a natural way. Remind me a little bit of what Elsa Lancaster was doing with the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, no. I'm with you on that. Yeah. So, but what about the sun thing? Do you have any theories as to why?
Yeah, the only thing is it takes 3
sun?
minutes for her to get on her feet because the sun stops her partway through rising. And I was like, it's the only thing that tempered the scene is that it was really long.
Well, in my mind, I kind of went, well, Egypt is very sunny, and it's very hot, and that and they also worship the sun god Ra. So so I don't know. There was just some kind of thing where I thought they were going with.
Yeah, later on,
Dracula hates the sun. The Mummy loves it.
Later on, she likes the sun, but at this moment, she hates it. I
don't think she hates. I think she starts falling down because the cloud went over the sun. It's like she's Superman, got Superman's solar powers, but it starts crumbling off of her, and so then she ends up just a.
Yeah, she Godzilla's into the water. Except for up to her neck, where then she decides to dunk her face in repeatedly because she's too scared to go in. Which is funny that's like, surely they can catch that. Use another take where she actually does that.
Well, she gets discovered by somebody.
Yeah, Cajun Joe merrily scatting along.
Yep.
Funny that I talked about scatting, because actually if his mustache was a little bushier, he would be the Scat Man. Which, Scatman John, right? You know about Scatman John?
I don't. I know about Scatman Carruthers.
Scatman John, jazz artist born in 1942. He had a severe stutter when young, so discovered scat singing from people like Louis Armstrong and someone else. I don't remember.
Ella Fitzgerald was the queen of scat.
Ella Fitzgerald. That was it. Made albums in the 1990s before dying of lung cancer in 1999. Unfortunately, he is a meme now because he of the albums that he did. He's like, I'm the Scat Man, dee da da bop, dee da da bop. I think it was also.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that.
I think he also did the
ba
ba ba da dee dee da ba 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 da da ba song that is also a meme.
Yeah,
I think that was the.
I know the Dwee Ba Da Bop song that you did. I know that song. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's from the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, and he died like 4 years after he made like those albums. But I think he did make a whole Scatman Foundation for people with stuttering, and also helped in it helps in study with stuttering, the study of stuttering, which is weird because I think
it might be a mental and a physical thing, but it might be just a mental thing. I don't know. I think that that a lot of the mental capacity. If you alter some things, some thought processes.
He's a very noble guy, but unfortunately a meme now, because all he's been reduced to in the modern day are 2 songs that are used as memes.
Oh, there's a lot of people who were one-hit wonders that are remembered just for their songs, the couple songs they did back in the day. So Cajun Joe finds her.
Yeah.
And his first thought
now
is...
a different actress from the previous movie, I'm pretty sure.
Yes. Virginia Christine as opposed to Ramsey Ames. Yep.
Yeah. She is droning about Karis. And he's like, yo, what are you doing here? Let's go, take you to the inn. And, Rageb is walking by, and he goes back to tell, Zandab about this.
Ilzor Zandab. Yeah, you got to give that full name.
Ilzor Trogdor.
Trogdor.
Every time I think of that, it just
Trogdor the Burninator. You have
Trogdor
to tell
the Burninator. That's the villain of this movie.
That's it. The villain is Trogdor. Moving on. So he takes him to the
inn. She's very much like a doll in his arms, because just putting her down and only moving when touched, right? Like a doll. Next scene, Karis is dramatically spoon-fed 9 Tanna-leaves and sent to get Ananka and kill all in his path. I thought this was funny, because he's just like... and while he's over here like, you will go into the far reaches and kill all in your path, he's like...
Yeah, exactly. There's actually, on one of the posters, it shows Ilzor Zandab, and he's holding the spoon, and the mummy's... got it. It's like he's feeding him like Cheerios or something. It's
literally like a little ladle, and it's like we haven't seen that on screen, and it's like just imagining that for every time. The epic ladle.
See, Thor has Mjolnir, and Trogdor the Burninator has a spoon,
and he's here holding a ladle.
I'm sorry. Hey, I didn't mean to say spoon. I'm so sorry. Ladle, right?
But he was spoon fed it. You just.
Yeah, and then they're like, they said, you will, I remember earlier he told Rageb, he said, you will do this mission or die by violence. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
It's stuff like that.
And he even says, all your predecessors died by violence. He's like, but you won't, I'm sure. Hey, all your previous guys got fired or left the job, but I'm sure you'll do fine. You're like, yeah, okay.
All right.
So they're at the
inn. He finds himself at the inn, and he straight up just walks in. But it seems Ananka wants to escape him, because they apparently don't love each other, as is proclaimed, because they love each other, right?
Well, she doesn't remember. She doesn't remember a lot. I mean, she doesn't remember too much.
Yeah, she wants to escape him, and they run through the forest. She is pausing as she goes, to look back at him running. Until collapsing on the side of a road, into which some new peeps, who I don't really know who they are.
No.
My guess is they're related.
No, sorry. That's Betty, the receptionist, and the doctor guy, Halsey from the Scripps Museum.
I think they were wearing different clothes, and so I was like, who are these people?
Because they're hanging out, because I think that Betty kind of flirted with Halsey.
I think I made these notes like really late into the night, so I'm trying to parse what I was
Did you
thinking.
something you'll notice is every time Karis comes in, he comes for Ananka, and there's somebody else gets in the way to stop him, and then Ananka leaves, and Karis kills the person. So isn't she at fault a little bit of the death too? She keeps running away and leaving them to their doom. Maybe. Hey, who knows? So they get her off the side of the road, and they say
pick her up in a car. Not seeing the mummy conspicuously standing right there,
he's
moving
right
toward
there.
them, but their heads are turned. You've got 4 eyes. None of them see the mummy.
Turn your head.
Literally, if Betty's head is away from the mummy,
half an angle.
Doctor dude's got his eyes. He can move to see him. And have you ever had peripheral vision? I don't know how they didn't see him.
You can see something right about here. So why doesn't? Yeah. So they go take her to Dr. Cooper. Dr. Cooper is the physician for the southern whatever.
Oh yeah, everyone reacts to Bertha. Bertha got strangled when
Yes.
the mummy went to the inn.
They're so sad.
Also
and
citing mold on her neck, which is like, okay, does it just go there? Everyone's got to wear like mothballs.
Dr.
So they
Cooper
can
is
avoid
there,
the mold.
and so that's the same Dr. Cooper that's supposed to watch after, supposed to see Ananka and help her out. But
yeah, there's got to be like mold-proof suits or something. It's like weird because mold like grows naturally, but it's like it shanked off and fell on the thing, and then it's stuck there. I guess I don't know how that
works.
works.
One cool little thing. Did you notice that when the mummy attacked Tante Berta earlier, that like this dust came off of him when he was attacking her? I thought that was a cool trick. That was nice. And it's very easy to do. You just get a little bit of dust and just sprinkle it on him, on Lon Chaney. And when Lon Chaney would jerk, the dust would come off of him. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There is some good things in this movie, such as it is.
Yeah. Cajun Joe, in this scene, with all serious, then says, "Poor Auntie Berta, she's a dead. The girl, she's a gone." That was like Chris Pratt in the Mario movie trailer.
Oh no! It's like she's a gone. Yeah, it's
he was like, "She's
doing?
A gone."
Who's yeah? It's a me.
It was not great. It's not great. It was not a great moment at all. He's not.
It's a me, Cajun Joe.
It's a me, Cajun Joe.
Oh my gosh!
Wahoo.
But they have taken.
I was out here stomping Koopas in the old Mario movie. Or old Mario Bros. Arcade game. That's the meme that they also use, is that I was stomping Koopas. Anyway, but all the memes about that.
Karis, as the car is driving away, Karis is just left to kind of go, oh man, and he kind of shuffles back off to.
Yeah, it's just like why didn't they see him? Anyway, next scene, Ananka wakes up in the Halsey tent with amnesia. As pronounced by the doctor, Cooper. Amnesia.
Yeah.
They resolve to employ her as a lab assistant. Next morning, she is working outside because she loves the sun now.
Here's my question. They know nothing about her. They don't know what she knows and doesn't know. They're just like,
send her to work.
You got to give her something. And I had read an article that somebody had written where they said
women belong in the lab, I guess.
No, they were saying that this is like, when somebody's a real science guy and he's trying to like do some game on some lady, he's like, "Hey, would you like to work in my laboratory?" It's like that's his pickup line. Science guy pickup line.
Yeah, that was it's like a I don't watch Dexter's Lab. Who's his sister?
I don't remember.
But like, just like how she just enters the lab occasionally. I mean, she probably doesn't work in there because she hates Dexter. She hates Dexter's face, but just I guess that sort of energy.
But how can
it's just like why?
Here's my question. They're like,
send her to the lab.
How does she know how to use microscopes? How does she know how to look into them and stuff? If she supposedly is she's literally the reincarnated Ananka.
Also, she then just starts walking up to Zandab, who has entered, who then bows to her, and
that's his queen. That's his queen. He's bowing to, yeah.
Dr. Halsey finds him like Dr. Cooper and Halsey. They're like, that's sus. What are you guys doing?
Yeah. Do you know her? And he's like, no.
No, I don't.
Okay, I don't buy you that.
Apparently, this was him trying to get Ananka for himself, but failing. When at night he goes, I was trying to get Ananka for myself, but I failed. You must get her, Karis, as is destined. So, he is sent again. They chase through the woods again. She pausing every couple of steps again. She then goes into Dr. Cooper's tent for shelter and proclaims her mind is haunted with Egypt and Karis. I don't know why, because I have amnesia.
Leave me alone!
Leave me alone! Surely enough, the mummy just waltzes right in and tries to strangle her. But unfortunately, because he was trying to use his shadow to strangle her instead of his corporeal arm, he gets bunted by a chair by Dr. Cooper, who is then...
Well, Karis is faster than
Karis
Cooper
is faster.
can swing a chair.
Yeah, he squishes him like that apple the banker was trying to, or the banker squishes the apple in Despicable Me. Speaking of which, the 4th movie came out.
I heard it made some good money.
I'm gonna look up some.
I do know
about
that Inside Out 2. As a side note, in current news, Inside Out 2 just reached a couple days
Will
ago.
Ferrell in this movie?
It reached a billion. Billion. But
Really?
the characters of fear and disgust, the voice actors didn't make it back because they weren't getting as much money as they did in the first one.
I think the issue with Despicable Me 4 was that there were a whole lot of plot threads. Because we have the minions are doing something crazy.
Oh, right.
The girls are doing something crazy.
You have to have the minions in it.
He's doing something crazy with his new baby, which was like the stupidest thing, but they barely do anything with the baby either. There's the villain is doing something.
That's a whole story right there. Yeah. Are you saying that?
Yeah, a lot of the film is like he's moving into a new town, and working into life. I think there's like a whole thing where like he was there was some like the volleyball, badminton, the people with the white clothes who are the perfect family. You know, those people like the sports family.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's trying to basically be the dad he's always meant to be. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. There's also like a lot of stuff with like the minions are mutating into bigger minions.
Superpowers, probably. One of them looks like the Thing or something. He's like got all this rock skin or something.
Yeah.
So this has been Despicable Me 4 News. Back to your regular schedule program.
All right, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because
We are not sponsored. We are not sponsored by
Illumination.
Illumination at all. So, but I would love to get some of that sweet Illumination.
Yeah,
money.
well, we talked about the Mario movie, so I guess we're
Call
partially
us up.
sponsored by Illumination. Guys, go check out Migration.
It
yeah.
was okay. It was.
They haven't been having a really good track record of solid movies. I mean, they had an uptick with the Mario movie, but like that's it. So begins another chase. Except we
Right.
flash to the morning of everyone reacting to all this happening, instead of continuing the chase.
Dr.
They are
Cooper's
just
dead, yeah.
they're like Princess Ananka was here and then was gone, or not her. They don't know her name. They don't know who she
Yeah.
is. But she's like, oh, she's gone. The mummy's chasing after her in the middle of the night. We have to go find her. The manager blames Halsey for this. Pat Walsh. This results in him leaving to make a telegram to force the beginning of the operation after resistance from Betty, because he's like, Betty, go make a telegram. And
Oh,
she's like, no.
he's saying I'm going to send a message over to the people that sent you, and you're not going to be able to do any kind of mummy research.
Yeah,
You know,
he's
you're
like,
done.
Betty,
You're done, sir.
Betty, slam a lamb, go make the monogram. Go make the
Telegram. I say good day, sir.
Yeah,
Is what he's doing. Yeah, he's like,
Betty,
"I said
slam a
good
lamb,
day."
go make that telegram.
And she's like, I'm not gonna. And he's like, fine, I'll do it.
He's
Yeah.
like, oh, fine, I'll do it. The Halsey crew and Zandab are splitting up to look for the two of them. Cajun Joe finds them and attempts to shoot them with the shotgun he has and is promptly strangled. Ananka
Yes.
runs back into the Halsey tent, and Ragheb spots the mummy as he walks back into the Halsey tent and grabs Ananka. There's so many like parts where he just waltzes into the tent, and then it's like, okay, no one really like spots him immediately. It also
Yeah.
inexplicably collapses, even though the tent is plenty tall enough for him, and he was away from the walls. It just collapses.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the movie started breaking down for me about this point, but
Yeah, I think
got
most of the
confused.
movie is just the mummy creeping up to Ananka. Whoa. But Ananka as the mummy was
Ananka
cool.
escape. Yeah, Ananka escape, and then mummy kill somebody. Mummy disappear.
Yeah, literally just that. But I thought it was funny, like, why did the tent collapse? It's like he's away from the walls, he's in the middle of the room, he just grabs Ananka off of the bed, and then he turns around, and then it collapses, even though he's away from the walls. It's like, okay. RoccoW and Betty team up. They find each other. Halsey finds that dude Gooby was his name. There's like I was thinking like Gumby, like the
Gumby,
clay,
Gooby,
the clay creature. Apparently
the devil's dancing with a mummy.
Played by a guy named Napoleon Williams, was it?
Simpson.
Napoleon Simpson. Yeah, Halsey finds him in the collapsed tent. Apparently he was there. And he goes off after tracks that he sees of Karis, while Gooby alerts Pat Walsh of everything going on.
Yeah,
like
the
basically
boss man.
It's like everyone's like freaking out, everyone's splitting, which is like, I like, the split up scenes where like there's a ton of threads to follow, but I feel like they didn't do that much with that. They could have lost potential.
This movie feels longer than it is because it's just
It's
excruciating.
1 hour. It's a 1 hour movie.
It feels like 2. It's so like drawn out, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah. So the mommy shuffles in with Ananka. Why did I write fireman style? He's just holding her. It's not fireman style.
That'd be over the shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the type of thing he's doing. He's
right.
With holding. Zandab says they will put her soul in a coffin case so that her spirit can go to Egypt somehow. It's not it's not exactly explained how they do that though.
How does everybody end up at the monastery? I think that's like when
everyone walks up to it because they track them down. That's everyone creeps up on the
temple
place.
No, wait a minute. Well, RoccoW and Betty end up at the monastery, and you finally, and you finally realize.
I just had a thought.
RoccoW wants Betty.
I just had a thought.
There was no telegraph of that. Go ahead.
Didn't they send in the last movie? Mm-hmm. And in the movie before that, or like we talked about how he just somehow made his way to America, and they were in Egypt, right?
Well, he did. No, it was Mehmet Bey actually brought him to Mapleton, Massachusetts.
Yeah, but if he went there, wouldn't it be as easy to go back to Egypt?
Okay.
Why did they have to send her spirit in the coffin case?
I don't know. No. I know what it was. Okay, whenever the Banning and Babe Henson, whatever his name is, Henson, they brought Karis back from. Did they bring him to Mapleton, Massachusetts, to the museum?
I don't know, but at least in the last movie, he was in Egypt, and then next scene with the transition, he's in America. Surely they could just do that.
He was already in
backwards.
America, but Yusuf Bey was in Egypt, and he had to come to America.
That doesn't make sense at all. Why they have to use a new method to go back to Egypt?
I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that at all. I think my brain was mush by that time.
He just inexplicably in Massachusetts. Why can't you just warp back to Egypt?
I don't think they warp him. I think just put him on a boat. They get their two.
They didn't explain how he got there either, so I assumed it was with magic, I guess. So why not just warp him back? Still, if there was some method that they used, which they didn't explain, but if there was some physical method, surely they could have used that.
I think they just put him in a sarcophagus.
But because they didn't, it didn't look like there was anything physical. I swear it was just magic. Just magic him back. Why not?
Not sure about that, but
I had a thought. I was like, wait a minute, didn't he just appear in Massachusetts? Can he just appear in Egypt?
No, he was brought there. He was brought there in in earlier films. Yep.
I don't know. I don't know how he got there last movie. I
think our brains are falling out of our head.
I just had like a big thought. I'm like, wait a minute. There isn't any reason to use this if he can just warp back. But if he can't warp back, then what did he do in the last movie? If not warp back or warp two?
I think the fact that the continuity is not.
Beat me up, Scotty. Like what?
No. The continuity is not super on point. And
Yeah,
there's so much time gaps, and it's very confusing as to what's happening.
yeah. I feel like a unique setting though is good, and also the two mummies thing was good while it lasted.
Yeah. I do. The thing is, RoccoW never gave any indication he was into Betty at all. But they have to have like a servant of Arkham fall for a lady or something and be the doom. And it's not. But it's not.
Yeah, I don't think they explain. I think they just
Zandab
teamed
this
up,
time.
but apparently they love each other because they go in first, and Zandab discovers them, or they discover each other.
It's not a love each other. Betty goes, oh, what do we? And then he starts moving. RoccoW starts moving toward Betty, and Betty starts backing off. So this is not love. This is something else.
I don't know. He says, "Death be upon you for treachery," because he revealed their place to her, I guess, or that they love each other, or like something.
No, he's not supposed to. He's not supposed to fall for you have to have a vow that you are to dedicate yourself to the mission.
And this was him not dedicating himself to her instead. And I'm as I said, I don't know if there was any.
Well, do you remember Yusuf Bey? Yusuf Bey, John Carradine, Yusuf Bey. He was not supposed to forget his vow. He was like, oh, I've forgotten my vow, and shouldn't I have some kind of something as part of this? Yeah, it's. You kept talking about it. The doom of this is not always the mummy. It's usually the priest of Arkham that screws up.
Yeah, but the priest of Arkham gets nailed in the back off screen. By RoccoW. Halsey comes in. He is nearly stabbed. But he is punched down. Only to get back up and to throw a torch at Zeki. They're fighting 1-on-1, by the way. He tries to throw a torch on him, only to be strangled by the mummy. And so he goes to hide in a jail cell, and he's like punching him in. And he's just hiding behind there, standing there, not even attempting. There's this ledge thing behind him that he could have escaped by.
Yes,
but he didn't. So he just stood there while he was forcing down the ledge.
It's because the script says he has to die, and so he does.
The cell collapses on them both, and all is well. One last thing at the end is that Pat Walsh is there, and he's like, they're like, this is the mummy of Ananka, and he's like, push up, Ananka, that's my granddaughter. That is if I said it was my granddaughter. And also, yes, you have permission to date Betty to James. He says
Halsey. Yeah,
James Halsey. Yeah. He's like, you have permission to date Betty, and then they just walk off into the.
So what killed the mummy is not necessarily the fire, the quicksand, or the rubble. It was the poor reception to this movie.
Yeah,
but the mummy is still not dead. We get one more crappy mummy movie. This is Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. We get that in.
I feel like those aren't necessarily in the Universal Monster canon.
Kind of. I mean, they do act like Frankenstein. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. They do make it where Dracula is Bela Lugosi again. They do make it where the Wolfman is there. Glenn Strange as the monster. This movie is like, as I said, I like like a bunch of the different people splitting up and doing their own thing. It feels like there's a nice pacing of action going on. There's like weaving threads, and it feels great. I like the idea of there being two mummies with this female mummy, and she's just greatly acted. Can you see why, though, people don't like this and say it's the worst of the bunch? It doesn't make any dang sense. It doesn't, and also it's literally just mummy strangle fest and chase fest. Yes, 100%. And also, like, literally the mummy, he just waltzes into tents and is not noticed on the road. He's just able to do that. So as far as the making, also of this, I think there were more sets in this movie than any of the other mummy movies we've seen.
or comparably a bit more than we've had.
It
Which,
feels like it was
especially
filmed
that
on
interior.
It feels like a lot of it was filmed on location.
Yeah, the interior sets of the monastery were perhaps, like, especially at the last scenes, is perhaps the best. Like a lot of style points, because it's like it feels like somewhere Indiana Jones would go. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that.
I'm like that's got to have some style points. But
Yeah.
otherwise, that's the movie. I don't know what to make of it.
I don't think they did either. So this movie came in 1944, and 5 months after The Mummy's Ghost. That's why I in a way, you've got King Kong, a better movie, and Son of Kong, which came out very soon after. It's almost like they were trying to take advantage of the goodwill that King Kong provided in doing Son of Kong, and Son of Kong wasn't as good. By the way, you might have to pick up this movie again and look at the beginning credits. I mean, I might be able to throw up on screen some screenshots, but I don't think they put screenwriters. I didn't notice it the first time. I kind of, just zip on past mostly with movies, but there were no screenwriters, and it's possible that they were uncredited because they didn't enjoy their own work, like an Alan Smithy kind of situation. But it does seem like they don't care. They really don't care.
It feels like this could have been an episode of a show.
It had very minimal thought put to it. It was kind of just hastily. It feels like it was hastily thrown together.
Yeah, like a Twilight Zone episode, but less crazy.
Overpopulated, overplotted. There's just too many characters. Too much plot and not enough real meat to it. I was surprised at how much the flashback scene took up, but I'm like, that saved money. So I guess I understand. But there's some movies where flashbacks and clips of previous movies, it feels like a cop-out. They did that with a lot of the later Gamera movies, where it's just all clips. And you're like, were there any real fights in this movie? Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
I feel like you should probably watch this one. Just keep in mind that it's a little bit stale. Little bit rotting like The Mummy. It's a little bit rotten.
Yeah, and it would be another, it'd be another 4 years after Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, where you actually get some decent mummy action with the Hammer movies. Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. You get some actual, some decent. Although that one has quite a bit of a flashback to Egypt. A big chunk of that movie is, but it's still good, still well done. But like I said, this movie got moderate to poor reviews. The stock footage was blamed. Confusion of the location of New England and Massachusetts, not really well known for its swampy areas. So I honestly think that the movie was kind of dull, and Lon Chaney is done with these movies. He is so done, and I'm kind of glad he doesn't play this character anymore. I mean, he can still play, the Wolfman at least a couple more times. He's still got a little bit of that left in him, but the Mummy was just he was not into it. The makeup was more intricate for the Wolfman, but I'm wondering if this mask made him sweat so much, and it would get in his eyes, and it was very uncomfortable. With the Wolfman thing, at least you can breathe. Your face, you can breathe out of that. So I kind of understand the problems with that. So
the thing is, he's actually wearing a mask.
Yeah, he is.
So he cannot open his mouth.
No.
That was funny. Last time they were like, here, it looks like he's almost wearing a mask. Well, he is wearing a mask.
Oh, yeah. We found out later.
You were talking about how the older mummies with like the black eyes like a shark.
Yeah.
I do say I will agree.
Yeah. Now, new to this movie, and I haven't seen too much of her before, is Virginia Christine. She plays Princess Ananka. Has Scandinavian or Swedish in her background. She actually is more well known for she's been in other movies. Edge of Darkness was her first movie in 1943. Let's see, she left Warner Brothers in 43 and signed with Universal in 44. And then she got supporting role in Mummy's Curse and Wife of Monte Cristo. Then she was in Scarlet Horseman, which was a 13 chapter serial. Then she was in The Inner Circle, The Killers, Cyrano de Bergerac, High Noon. She also had a side part in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which we will see probably in a couple seasons. She was also in television series, but that's not what she's most well known for. When she got older, during the 60s and 70s, there was a character on for Folgers Coffee known as Mrs. Olson. And she was in a string of television commercials for like 10 plus years.
Yeah, only way to start your morning is Folgers in your cup.
Yeah, the best start of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Yeah. And she would give advice to married couples.
I think
and
it's
stuff
funny.
Like that.
I think that is the coffee we still use.
Yeah.
We still use Folgers.
21 years as Mrs. Olson. She started that in 1965. So into the 80s. So that's a character that gets very well known. Also Peter Coe as Ilzor Zandab. Gotta say that full name. Peter Coe, we saw him previously in House of Frankenstein. He played Carl Hussman. He was the boyfriend of the young lady played by Anne Gwynn, who was getting hypnotized by the ring and stuff like that. Peter Coe is actually Czechoslovakian, but actually, remember how he said he was a really good friend with Ed Wood? Apparently, Peter Coe is a really good friend with a lot of people. He's one of the nicest guys in Hollywood at the time. There's a story.
Even with that part where it was like watch your blood pressure.
Oh well, that was written in there, but his playful personality is on display there, and so but him and Cheney became good friends. And they actually, there's a story where early morning they're hunting Canadian geese, or Canada geese, and you're only supposed to take one goose per person, but they all told they killed 47 between the both of them. They just went
47,
but they only brought back one, and they had left the bodies out in the wilderness. They had to go back at night to get the rest of the bodies. So that's kind of the story there. He honestly his later career for Peter Coe was television work, series like Combat, Mission Impossible, Police Story. He died in 1993. So, 2 horror roles. And more importantly, he had lots of warm memories for people. So nice guy, really, really nice guy. Nothing like his Ilzor Zandab character. Dr. James Halsey was played by Dennis Moore. And Dennis Moore, his most famous thing was westerns and serials.
Yeah,
you could kind of see that
a
about
lot
him.
of people, westerns, serials, maybe some film noir.
So what ended up happening is he actually started out in aviation. He flew planes, and he got a pilot's license, and he did a little bit in theater, kind of as a side, kind of thing to flying. But he was in a plane crash that almost killed him. And he spent about a year in the hospital.
Then we talk about the Lillian Gish from the Gone with the Wind. That in a plane crash. This year? Or last year?
There was something happened.
1943.
Yeah. He had 2 years of recovery. He could not pass the physical for his pilot's license. So he decided to go from aviation to acting. So there you go. And then it took off. And he was in one of the last serials produced by Universal in 1946, and then Columbia Pictures in 1956. So
he decided to fly the skies, the green skies.
Of
green
money.
Screen.
Yeah. Oh no, of green screens. What?
Green
So-
screen. He flies on the green screen.
Right. Okay, so Kay Harding played Betty Walsh. She was just she was a small town girl
In a
living
lonely world.
Lonely world. Took the midnight train going anywhere. She was first in Weird Woman, a movie with Lon Chaney Jr., Anne Gwynn, and Evelyn Ankers.
That is a lot of Weird Woman.
Well, there's like voodoo in it, and good luck charms, and superstition, and lots of bad stuff. Then she did High Good Lookin', which was a sugar coated kind of cutesy poo music filled movie. Follow the Boys was a World War II kind of drama, very patriotic. She was in the last 4 movies that she did, though, were all horror movies or thriller movies. Okay, that's the reason why we remember today, because people still watch these horror movies and thrillers. The Scarlet Claw, which was one of the Sherlock Holmes movies
Dr. Scarlet Claw.
with Basil Rathbone. Remember him? Mr. Son of Frankenstein himself.
Dr. Claw.
Yes, Dr. Claw. That's the voice.
Yeah.
From Inspector Gadget, right? She was also in The Woman in Green, another Sherlock Holmes series movie. Ghost Catchers was a horror comedy. Addison Richards plays Pat Walsh, the owner of Southern Swamp Clearing Company.
The Southern Engineering Company.
Engineering, yeah. Addison Richards was in more than 300 movies between 1933 and 1964. That's a lot. I looked at his list of movies. It was like long. He played characters that were very dignified and businesslike, professionals, doctors, attorneys, judges, executives, military officers, legislators.
Why didn't you just get the job in real life?
I don't know. No.
A lot of overlap in real life.
So this guy actually was very interesting to me. Martin Koslek, who plays Rageb. His real name is Nikolai Yoshkin. He's a German film actor. Like a lot of German actors, he fled Germany when the Nazis came to power, came to Hollywood, very similar to help me out, the guy
Peter Lorre?
No, well, Peter Lorre was different. I don't think he's Bulgarian or whatever. No, Cesar, the somnambulist.
Yeah, I remember talking about that more when we did the Peter Lorre.
He made a career of playing villainous Nazis in films. He had a very icy demeanor and a piercing stare, which I could see that. He's probably the scarier villain than the Mummy, I think, because he stabbed people, So he moved into horror movies after World War II started coming to a close. The Frozen Ghost, The Mummy's Curse, House of Horrors, and She-Wolf of London, which we will do.
Yeah, I'd like to see him in that movie.
Yeah, so we mentioned before Kurt Katch. That's not played Cajun Joe. That's not his real name. His real name is Isser Kak. Isser Kak. That sounds like Ipecac. That stuff you take to throw up. No, he's a Polish film and television actor. He's been in Quiet Please, Murder, The Purple V, The Mask of Demetrios, and Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. Wasn't that the one that made the most money in either 43 or 44 was Alibaba?
Maybe.
He was also in the first James Bond story, Casino Royale, in 1954.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It was done for a TV show. It was one of the first appearances of James Bond. He was in that. It was a made-for-TV movie. It was filmed live.
That's a decent role. I will say, if I was to be in anything.
Yeah, he was probably a bad guy. To be honest, he wasn't James Bond. Ann Cody played Tante Berta. Holmes Herbert played Dr. Cooper. Napoleon Simpson, as previously mentioned, played Gooby. Hey, you got to take the parts that are there. It would be quite a few more years before they would actually give substantial, really respectful, non-embarrassing parts to
but
black
we've graduated from blackface in a lot of the movies we've been doing. I mean, we still talked about this here where they're doing that Ronald Reagan
Yellowface. They're still doing
they still do a little bit of that.
Yeah, they do a little bit of that.
It's graduated to more like musicals and stuff.
So the whole thing about one race portraying another didn't quite go away completely, but they did start hiring more people that were black to play black characters. It's just that the parts they were given were kind of embarrassing and very stereotypical, and it'll be quite a few more years before you'd actually see like real substantial parts given to black actors. So, The Mummy's Curse.
It's been a pretty chill time doing this podcast with you.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed it. I honestly feel like there's a lot of, some good things about this movie that I liked. I'm like, okay, we're seeing more of this stuff. As I said, I've gotten a bit tired of Kurt Sudmak written movies.
Yeah.
Because they feel like very samey. It's like, while this movie wasn't written particularly well, it's good to see like a shift up in interpretations of what a horror movie could be.
Yeah, but honestly, what we're going to see a lot more of is these hastily thrown together movies, more cliches than you can throw a stick at. Yeah, then you could throw.
Mummy Dog. Next mummy movie, Mummy Dog. Why didn't they make that Mummy Dog like a Frankenweenie, but it's a mummy? Wait
a minute. Here's
your $40.
There was a mummy. There was a mummy dog in some movie.
Yeah, you talked about some horror dogs last episode, but nary a mummy dog in history. Just if any of you will comment,
I think it's a dachshund. It was a
mummy
dachshund.
Dog movie.
Mummy dachshund.
Mummy Dog movie. I will eat my hat. The hat I am wearing right now. I will
just
wear. I will wear the hat.
Just like Werner Herzog, you'll eat your shoe. Wasn't there like a documentary where he was going to eat his shoe?
I think there are literally like some edible shoes, but I have done no research into that.
It's leather, and leather is the skin, is kind of the skin of an animal, and we eat, fried chicken with skin on. So
yeah, okay. Perfect keratin. Get your keratin content.
So this movie.
Speaking of which, next movie will hopefully be a nail-biting experience.
I don't know if it's going to be a nail-biting experience, but it's probably going to be another opportunity for us to lose our minds, because want to be,
or we could bite our nails because in embarrassed, or like in I don't know.
Isn't
bite our nails because we want the pain.
Again, we have the return of Monogram, or PRC movies. You'd be surprised how many Monogram of PRC
so many 8 movies that they've done. The next episode will definitely have more to talk about because there's 2 movies: The Ape Man and Return of the Ape Man.
Yep, and I think I might be doing the plot for those, so I will try not to get too detailed with it, and I'll try not to lose my mind too much.
Yeah, because this movie is honestly just a little bit in the space that I'm like, you could lose your mind.
There. You got one foot in the.
Wait a minute, could they just warp back to Egypt? I don't.
Well, I don't know. Have you played Super Mario Brothers 2, where they've got these little it has some Egyptian looking stuff in there.
The doors. You get a potion, you throw it, and it makes a door appear. And then in the Shadow Realm.
There's some scenes that look very Egyptian because, of course, the game originally was a
did you know that Super
Doki
Mario
Doki
2
Panic
was originally a game called Doki Doki Panic about a bunch of Arabian style game with
that's why there was Egyptian stuff in it,
and then they turned it into Mario.
The Arabian stuff stayed the same, and the Mario stuff is what they added. So anyway, have a good night, everybody.
Yeah. Sorry, it's a bit of a meme because there's like a channel that's like, did you know this about games? And that's like the one meme is, did you know that Super Mario 2 was originally Doki Doki Panic? So,
yes, I did know that, and thank you.
Yes, I did know that. Thank you very much. Good day, sir.
Good day, sir.
Good day, sir.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to Cinematic Fantastic Podcast. Click here and here for some more excellent content. Hope you'll enjoy it. See you soon!